today. Now, playing the piano freely seems impossible, and if you already feel this way, this is why I titled this, because I want to obviously attract the people that are feeling maybe like it's just impossible. It feels that way, even if, you know, we all kind of know that it isn't impossible, but it feels like it. I've definitely been in that position. I have, for whatever piano stage I've gotten, I've felt like where I wanted to be was just impossible. And that was because I largely felt alone in my journey as a pianist to try and become a freely playing pianist. I didn't really know anyone around me that was trying to do the same thing. And this is why the internet is a beautiful thing, because we can gather together all these people who do feel this way about piano playing, who do want to play more freely, naturally, have more of the creative pianist skills, because around us normally, I think there would be many more people that, if they really thought about it, really do actually want to become a creative pianist. But, and we're going to get into this in a moment, it's just not an option that's presented to everybody, so people don't even realize that they can. And here's the first reason why. I'm going to get my little... The first reason is, or the first factor that is influencing us to thinking that playing piano freely is impossible, or not even thinking that it's, not even thinking of it, or that it's a possibility, is that it's not taught. It's a gift. Now, this idea that playing the piano freely is something that only people who are born into a musical family, or have the gene pool of musicians, or have just taken to something very naturally from a really young age, and then therefore they can play piano freely, but the rest of us can't. Now, this is a myth. It's not true. It can be taught. Even things as mysterious as playing by ear or improvising, that seem like things that only people that have some sort of magical power can do, that's not true. It can be taught, and we teach it in Piano Picnic resources, and specifically the Creative Pianist membership. Now, just because I'm going to bring this up a couple of times, just so you know what I'm talking about, the membership is called the Creative Pianist. This is where people can pay a small monthly fee, small in comparison to buying the lifetime access to the courses individually, and you get access to all of the courses that I've done, all the workshops that I've done, all the live coachings. Every month there's a new live coaching session on a different topic, plus a monthly newsletter, I call it the newsletter, to inspire you and point out new content. I also give you a plan to get through all of the stuff in there, so you're not left on your own thinking, what do I do next? There's a lot of support. And so that's just briefly, I wanted to cover that. That's what I'm talking about when I say the Creative Pianist membership, because this is going to come up a couple of times. So that's our first factor, is that it's not really taught, it's a gift. You have to be gifted with this talent to play piano freely rather than being taught it. Okay, now how do we get past this? Obviously we find someone that is teaching this stuff. Once we get over the idea that you have to be gifted, and I am telling you right now, you do not. And in fact, you have everything you need. You're a creative person because you're a human being, and human beings are default creative. And the fact that you want to play the piano freely and creatively is open to everyone. You can do it. And in fact, the factor that holds back people from becoming free pianists is not that you're not gifted. It's that you don't have access to instruction that either appeals to you or is teaching this topic or is effective, or you are not essentially putting the work in, right? And we're going to get to that in a minute as well, about how it does require a certain amount of effort to get there. Okay, so the second thing that we're talking about is, before I move on, actually, I'm going to get into this in a second. I know we've got Robert here, I've got Alexandra here, whoever else is here, make sure you say hi in the comments. And Robert and Alexandra and whoever else is here, I've got a question for you. You can answer any time in this broadcast. Have you ever felt like playing piano freely was impossible? And if you have, do you know why that was? Like, was one of these factors in particular one of the reasons why it felt or feels impossible now? Just let me know in the comments, because I'd be really interested to see how on the money these factors are for you guys, or whether there's something else that you want to comment that that you found as particular influenced the fact that you felt playing freely was an impossible task. Okay, so let's go to the second one. So the second factor is that it's not an app. You know, we tend to think that these days the idea with the internet and YouTube tutorials and those clever synthesia things where we can learn the notes rain down and we just copy the colors and put them on the piano to learn songs. You know, this sort of idea that we can learn anything we need to learn from an app or from a game or a quick 2-minute tutorial on YouTube, that is not something that, well, you know, you can learn parts of that in that way, parts of playing piano freely in that way, but playing piano freely really requires, I'm getting a tongue twister, playing piano freely really requires a specific curriculum, or, you know, a resource that is specifically teaching you to play freely, and that's what it says on the box, and that's what it's doing. You know, you can't just learn lots of songs from quick, easy tutorials on YouTube and expect that playing piano freely will just happen eventually after you've learned hundreds of songs. It's not the kind of thing that just happens from playing the piano a lot. You have to acquire certain knowledge, and you have to practice certain things to make sure that knowledge sinks in and that you can apply it. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. I don't have anything against apps. I don't have anything against quick tutorials, and in fact, many of my lessons in the courses that I do are quick, and we have on average 2-minute long lessons. So certainly being quick is not wrong. It's just that you can't just do piano related things and learn piano songs and expect to eventually automatically absorb what you need to become a freely playing pianist. I should have said that 10 times before I started this broadcast, because I clearly can't say it very well. Freely playing pianist. So that's the second thing, is it's not an app or quick tutorial away. It's really something that you need to specifically have a resources and curriculum. By curriculum, I just mean a learning path that is taking you towards that goal. Okay. Alexandra says, understatement. How about I don't know enough? There's something else I need to know. I'm not doing something the right way, and probably a ton more things I can't think of right now. Okay, so that's definitely, oh my gosh, Alex, I'm so glad you said that, because that's definitely the internal stuff. What I've talked about so far is kind of the external things that we learn about playing freely and that we think are true. And then there's the internal stuff, like I'm not going to get there. I don't know enough. I think I know the things, but I don't think that's what they're doing. And you look at other pianists and you think, no, they've got some other secret recipe that's happening over there. I totally understand that. And that feeling of not doing something the right way, I definitely get that. I particularly experienced that exploring playing in the jazz style. I experienced a huge amount of lack of confidence, I think, and a sort of a crisis of confidence, I guess, because I learned theory for playing jazz, and then I would go see jazz players and just be like, nah, they've got some other secret sauce. They're not doing what I'm doing, right? But it is just a matter of having that right instruction and having that application that you just keep applying it. And I've just sort of doggedly kept trying to play in that style, and I have gotten better. I still wouldn't say that I'm an incredible jazz pianist. My style is, I tend to spend a lot of time in riffing and composing and playing, making arrangements of different songs that I like and that sort of thing, in a jazzy way, rather than going through all the jazz standards and learning particularly that. But I have definitely gotten better from just going, oh, you know what, I'm not just going to listen to my brain telling me that I'll never get there and I'm not good enough. So I definitely relate to that, Alex. Thank you for bringing that up. So the third thing that is a massive factor is the fact that there's no curriculum, right? In a traditional sense. So what I was talking about before, how a lot of people don't even realize that it's an option to become a freely playing pianist, is because it's not so mainstream. It's not really taught in the mainstream curriculum or traditional piano lessons. They're teaching, the same classical technique and reading sheet music that they always have. There's definitely, I was talking to another piano teacher the other day, there's definitely a massive wave of piano teachers that are beginning to teach this sort of stuff, but even they're having to go back and re-educate themselves to teach creative piano playing, because they weren't taught that way, and I certainly wasn't taught that way either. But I was fortunate enough to have a couple of people in my life who were older pianists that I looked up to, and I could watch them and sort of gather some things. And one of them I've talked about Bridget before, who was not an actual piano teacher, but I actually talked her into teaching me piano in the way that she did, which was riffing off chords, and I couldn't believe that she could play so freely and so beautifully just off a lead sheet. And so I was lucky enough to have that person in my life, and then I sort of went on my own journey from there and kept playing and being creative and discovering what I did, but if you aren't lucky enough to have that influence, then it can be really hard to find out these things, that it is possible, that you can learn to play in these ways. So the fact that there's no curriculum means that not a lot of piano teachers are teaching it, because that's not the way that they were taught. And how did they come across it if they hadn't been lucky enough to be exposed to it, and put a lot of time and effort into mastering that as well? So that is... those are the three main reasons that I think, and those are all sort of external reasons. If you thought it was all in your head and were beating yourself up again about the fact that you just don't feel good enough and I can't become a creative pianist because it's all in my head, it's not all in your head. And that's what I wanted to say today. There's these three... Oh my gosh, I'm terrible. These three factors that are all external factors that are not really encouraging you to go in this direction. So, what do? I want to just take these away for a second. Now, because this is Piano Picnic, of course, whenever I think about doing anything, I'm thinking about how I can relate this back to food. There are a few things... Well, there are many things in my life that I'm very passionate about. Piano is probably the biggest one of them. Food is another one. I love delicious food. I cannot handle a meal that is functional and not delicious. I've been called a hedonist, which I think is funny. But so I wanted to relate this back to food. So we've got a recipe for creative piano playing, and we have some ingredients, right? The ingredients is to have a dream, okay? No matter how, and I know that it sounds very woo-woo and if airy-fairy, but you do have to have a goal that you're going for, and the bigger it is, the better, because then it can fuel you for years and years and years, and you can break it down into smaller goals to achieve along the way. It's so important to have that dream or that goal, if you prefer to say it that way, to get you through the times when it's hard, the times when you don't feel like it. Because if you want to become a freely playing pianist, a creative pianist, it's a long haul thing, It's not a quick 2-minute tutorial. It's not a little app that you download on your phone and do for 2 minutes. It's not that quick and easy. But every little goal we get along the way, we can make quick and easy so that you can feel good about the fact that you are taking steps towards that massive piano dream. And that's what will keep you going. You need a coach. I'm volunteering. You need a coach that's going to teach you these things, and not just someone that, and I mean, good, try it, but I wouldn't recommend just going to your piano teacher who teaches you normal traditional stuff and saying, hey, can you teach me creative stuff? That's probably actually a good idea, because it's probably going to get them thinking about it. And the more piano teachers that are thinking about teaching this stuff, the better. I'm definitely of that frame of mind. I'm not like, no one can teach it except me. I'm not like that. But you do need someone, if you really want to get there, you do need someone who knows what they're talking about, who's walked the walk, who's said, hold up with your piano exams. We're going to go on this journey playing piano creatively. And again, if I've said creative too many times without explaining myself, this is playing by ear, riffing from a lead sheet, improvising, composing, jamming with a band, playing by yourself, sitting on the street piano out in public and just sitting there and playing something because you are able to instantly play things that come into your head. It's all those skills that we're working on. You need a community of people that are supporting you, right? Because as I said, I was lucky to have one or two people that were older than me that were able to sort of steer me in the right way. But how cool would it have been if I had a whole group of pianists that were like, yes, you did that. That's so cool. We love that. And, supporting each other along the way and giving, hey guys, I just realized that if I play these 3 chords in a row, it sounds really flippin' cool. You guys need to try it out. All that stuff, or commiserating with people about how hard it is to remember to practice and all those things, is so much better than a community. You also need a piano, right? You need a plan as well. So that's the last part. We have the dream, we have all these factors, and then we have a plan. You've got to have a plan for what you want to get to, and that's one of the things that I include within my membership, is a plan for you guys to go towards your goal through a specific order of courses and resources that I have. So what do? You mix all these things together, all the ingredients, add together, stir around. You want to add some determination and daily practice. Okay, I'm big on my 2-minute lessons. I love the fact that you can just fit in a 2-minute lesson along the path to this bigger goal, but you do have to do it every day. Come on, guys. Who's with me? Daily. So that is it today. I sort of wanted to make it quick, but it never ends up quick. It never always ends up half an hour. Yes, it's great. You're going to love it, and you're going to get all those things to support you, as I said, all those ingredients to help you become a creative pianist. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you inside the membership. Remember to play it like you mean it. Bye.